Hello my royal lovelies, welcome back to the channel, welcome to my home. Today in this video I want to talk about Prince William, of course the Prince of Wales, and there's a very interesting story regarding comments he's made whilst away for the Earthshot Prize. Now, there's a few things that I want to talk about all of this. So the headline is that William makes his sales pitch for King. The prince vows to go a step further than his family and actually bring change to good causes rather than spreading yourself too thin. Right, I want to kind of dissect this. So at the start of this, I want to say that I don't agree that he's setting out his sales pitch for King. I think he's setting out, if you want to call it a sales pitch, for how he's going to be Prince of Wales, Duke of Cornwall, because he could be in this position, obviously a lot shorter than what his father, Prince Charles, now the King, was. Of course, King Charles was the longest serving Prince of Wales in history and Duke of Cornwall. But I still think, you know, William's probably got at least 15, 20, maybe even 25 years, potentially, as Prince of Wales, Duke of Cornwall. So he needs to set out his stall for how he wants to do things, which of course will have a knock-on effect when he is king. But I think this is very much a kind of intermediary setting out his stall rather than necessarily for king. So let's just go straight into it. Prince William today delivered a pitch to be king as he insisted he wants to go a step further. The Prince of Wales praised the work of other royal family members, spotlighting important causes, but insisted he wanted to do more than just being a patron. This is very interesting because I remember a few years ago there was a survey or a study conducted regarding how much being a royal patron actually delivers for a charity. And the study, I mean, I don't know necessarily the validity of it, but the study came back that a royal connection, a royal patronage, didn't necessarily bring money to the table. And of course, charities thrive off money, but also they do thrive off awareness as well. People being aware of the charities. For example, lots of people leave money to charities in their will. So just being aware of a charity may even, you know, bring in return in 15, 20 years when somebody's will is read and money is left to them. Plus the awareness of the charity means that other organisations, sponsors may come to that charity indirectly, which may be difficult to measure in itself. So I will kind of park that because, you know, I do think that there is a place for how things have been traditionally done. But we'll get to that in a moment. So it has been said that William's remarks will raise eyebrows at the palace as he continues to set out his vision for the monarchy's future. Now, one cause he definitely wants to focus on is homelessness. Now, of course, his mother, the late Diana, Princess of Wales, famously supported homeless charities, and William has done the same, continuing her work since becoming an adult. He also wants to help deliver mental health support, education and employment opportunities because all of them go hand in hand. A lot of these, the big issues have lots of links all the way through the chain. It comes as the Prince and Catherine continue to step up their public appearances and William sets out his agenda for what type of king he wants to be. Well, again, I don't think it's his agenda for king. I think it's his agenda for Prince of Wales. I think it is difficult to question the validity of what the royal family do currently, and it does raise a lot of interesting questions, and it puts William at the forefront of change and assessing what the royal family's position and place is. It is also important to connect with young people where perhaps support is not as forthcoming, or indeed perhaps even young people don't necessarily understand what the work the royal family do. So we live in a world where people measure success and impact by dollars and pound signs coming in, not necessarily, as I mentioned earlier, the long-term impact of that awareness can bring. So I still think that awareness has a place, but to kind of connect with the younger crowd that want, the TikTok generation that want instant gratifications and satisfaction, the scrolling generation, they want to see results here and now. And I think that is the direction that William sees things moving in. It shows that the language William is using regards it essential that the monarchy reconnect in areas where it currently might see itself as being a little bit weak. There's also a significant challenge in abolishing homelessness. Saying that it's his life work is a very, very noble cause. But you have to kind of, I suppose, to affect that level of change, it also needs to come from central government. There has to be a will from government. So I'm not quite sure how William is going to affect that change, but we do know that the current politicians, Suella Braverman is trying to crack down on homelessness, but not necessarily in a good way. She even wants to ban homelessness tents on the streets of London. So I think he's got his work cut out for him there. Also, I suppose this leads very much to that the days of having 1,500 charities, like for example the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh had, are over. Spreading yourself too thin is now not the watchword of the day. So let's just take a look exactly what William did said. So he said, I think the thing that ties it all together for me is about social leadership. That's what I'm trying to find my way in, is I care about so many things, and previously the family have been very much spotlighting brilliantly and going round and highlighting lots. I want to go a step further. I want to actually bring change, and I want to bring people to the table who can do the change if I can't do it, which is exactly what I said about perhaps you have to get the government on side. So that kind of throws into, well, you're going to have to do it in a very non-political way. I've been in the homelessness sector for a long time now, and so rather than just being patron, I want to do more. I want to actually build the homes. I want to provide them with the mental support, all the employment and the education they might need. The Prince added, so it's all these wraparound services. It's kind of going deeper and longer than it is in the case of just having loads of causes that you sort of just turn up and keep an eye on, which kind of goes back to that study that I found about the impact. But you have to remain focused. If you spread yourself too thin, you just can't manage it, and you won't deliver the impact or the change that you really want to happen. William also said he was still digesting after the ceremony, and the Earthshot was still on the go, doing lots of meetings, and added that this year feels bigger than last, so we're progressing and we're building as we go. I think that's the key aim, is that every year we've got to get bigger and reach more people. The profile is massive, so we need to make that bigger and better. So I think it's all about working out, where do we go? How do we join the dots? People think this is philanthropy, and they think it's just a prize ceremony. It's not. This is so much more. Of course, he's speaking about the Earthshot Prize. I think that between him and Catherine, the Prince and Princess of Wales, they have about 50 charities. So they have been kind of doing this more focused approach for years now. And I think some people have been kind of rather mistakenly labelling it as lazy, comparing it to, for example, the 1,500 charities that other royals have between them. And I think the older royals, the ones over, bearing in mind we only have, I think, 4 working royals that are under the age of 70. So I think those older working royals are still going to carry on doing their duty and service the way that they always have done. So, for example, Princess Anne, Prince Edward and Sophie, the King and the Queen. But I do think the younger generation, William and Catherine, and then in turn, potentially when George, Charlotte and Louis come into the being working royals, that they will take a more focused, streamlined approach, which fits in very, very well with this kind of streamlined, stripped down monarchy that we now have found ourselves in through natural wastage. We no longer have Prince Andrew in active royal duty. We no longer have the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, who chose to step back for all the reasons that they say and claim that they stepped back for. So we find ourselves with a stripped back monarchy that cannot sustain the vast amount of charities, which is going to cause I think a lot of bother with the charity sector, because we could face the monarchy dropping a lot of charities, or rather not picking them up, when a current royal comes to the end of their working life, or indeed they are no longer here to be able to have those patronages. There won't be the capacity to have them picked up in due course. So this really is a process, and I think it shows William's direction, as I said, for that intermediary period between being Duke of Cambridge and now being the Duke of Cornwall, Prince of Wales, and then eventually being king, where perhaps he won't be able to have necessarily as in-depth focused, perhaps, trying to talk to politicians. I mean, he will be able to talk to politicians as king in his capacity, talking to the Prime Minister during all the weekly chats, but not in the same way. In the same way that King Charles is now finding that he cannot behave in exactly the same way as when he was Prince of Wales. Being king does have certain level of definitely a level of impartiality that William himself will come to when he is king. I think William knows this, which is why I think he's setting out his stall for this intermediary period. So I really want to know your thoughts and comments on this direction. Another really important thing to note, I think, is that William is taking charge and control of his own destiny. And I think we have seen that ever increasing since he has become the Prince of Wales and the Duke of Cornwall. No longer does he have to go sort of cap in hand to his father. He's no longer financed by the king. He has his own finance in the Duchy of Cornwall. He can now run that duchy, those vast tracts of land and property, the way that he sees fit. And although we haven't seen any major changes come out of that, I do get a sense that he now knows that he has that level of control, and it's brought him a whole new level of confidence to step out there, say what he needs to say, and get things done. I think we've seen that throughout everything. The way that he carries himself, his demeanour has changed, and I know I've commented on that in previous videos. He looks like he's come into his own, he's come into himself, and I think that in itself has been very positive for William. Please let me know your thoughts and comments on all of this, on the direction that William is sort of steering the monarchy towards, on what William is likely to do in this kind of intermediary period. Please let me know all your thoughts and comments. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media, and of course do hit the bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. So from me, to you all, and goodbye.